part 2 of this web design tutorial. Okay, now we did our logo, the top bar here with our phone number, and our navigational bar with the text. Okay, so make sure your layers are organized. Hopefully you went through the previous video. Okay, so now let's go ahead and make the slider for our image, for our website. So go ahead and make a new group, and you want to name this slider. Okay, so go ahead and open up an image you're going to use. Let's see what we got here. Probably just gonna use this one. Hopefully it's big enough. Let's see. Control A, copy. Control A, Control C, copy your image. Okay, see, that's not a good enough picture here. Give me a second. Let me see. Let's see what we got here. We could probably maybe go ahead and use that, or the pencil here. Let me see. Maybe a lemon. Yeah, let's go ahead and use the lemon. Or maybe, let me see. I think that wouldn't look half bad. What do you guys think? You should leave a comment. Tell me what you think. The lemon, maybe the two hands, maybe this. And I'll probably be sure to include some of these stock images with the PSD file at photoshopvid.com. If you want to go over and download that, maybe this image we could go ahead and use. Looks pretty good. It's a pretty big image, so let me go ahead and transform it. Okay. Maybe I'm trying to think what would be better here for a picture. Maybe just grab a piece of the sky. So, okay, I think we're just going to go ahead and just cut out a piece of the image here. Okay, and then I'm actually going to go ahead and probably put maybe like a thumbnail, a couple thumbnails in this section here. Or we'll see. So just go ahead and just delete the part of your image, and you could also just make this with a gradient overlay just by making a selection like this and filling it and just putting a gradient overlay like here. Okay, if you want to just make it from scratch, I'm just gonna go ahead and use this one. Alright, so let's go ahead and actually add a small thumbnail and probably do a read more button or something like that with a paragraph of text. Okay, so go ahead and make a rectangular selection like that. And so we used a basic, we just used a basic color. Now we're going to go ahead and grab an image. got a little mixed up. I wasn't sure exactly what I was gonna do, but got a pretty good idea now. So go ahead and grab yourself an image you want to use, okay, and paste it into your design. And we're also gonna go ahead and add a slider or a border to our image here. So go ahead and go to select, load selection, okay, and load your selection of the image, and go to, let's see, select, modify, expand, and expand that by about 3 pixels. Okay, now make a new layer, and now you want to fill your selection with edit fill. I always use the paint bucket tool, but just use edit fill. And now lower the opacity of the selection you just filled, and let's go ahead and add a drop shadow as well. Make sure when you fill a selection like that, you always want to make sure you have a new layer, so you're not just filling on top of something. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now let's go ahead and add some text. So we're just gonna grab the font and text we used for our quote. So go ahead and go back to that layer and Control J, duplicate that, and drag it into your slider section group. Okay, and now we can grab some filter text from lipsum.com. So go to lipsum.com here. We're just going to grab ourselves a paragraph. Okay, maybe actually that looks about good enough. Okay, now fill your let's see how we can do this. Alright, let's go ahead and finish up the slider area here. So just gonna make this a full selection all the way down. And I'm actually gonna put a spacing between the letters. Okay, got about, let's do 48, or a little bit less than that. Do about 30. Okay, and I'm actually gonna delete a little bit of our picture here to make the border thicker. So go to select and load selection. Okay, now transfer or modify, contract by 2 pixels, and select and go to inverse. Okay, and then press delete backspace. Okay, that looks a little bit better. So let's go ahead and add some simple buttons here. Okay, and go to select, modify, smooth, and smooth that by about, let's do 6 pixels. Okay, and now make a new group, name that button. Now fill your button with, I'm going to do a gray. So make sure you make a new layer as well. Okay, edit, fill. Okay, now double click that. We're going to add a gradient overlay. Decrease the opacity a little bit, and let's also add a stroke on the inside. And lower the opacity a little bit. Okay. And maybe a slight inner shadow. Okay. Maybe let's test. And you could actually set the opacity of the whole button at 20%. Okay. Let's drag that in our button group. Okay. Now. Yeah. Maybe more. Okay. And let's actually set this on bold. So we have our basic slider section here. And let's do a subsection. So go ahead and make a new layer and a new group as well. Okay, we'll name this subsection. Drag your layer in there. Okay. Now just make a selection across your whole template. A little bit smaller than the slider. Okay. And we're gonna set this at a dark gray. Okay, and just fill your selection. Let's do it darker. Maybe just about almost as dark as our top bar. And just go to fill. Okay. Let's actually lower the opacity. This isn't working so well for us. Here. Actually, well, let's go back. We're gonna fill it again with a lighter gray. Let it fill. Okay, and maybe add a gradient overlay on the subsection. Let's see. No, let's actually just keep it normal like this. Okay, and now hopefully you have some icons downloaded already. If you don't, I'm going to include these in the PSD download. Okay, let me see what we got. So I'm just going to grab some icons I got laying around here. Okay, these look good. So I'm going to grab a down let's see, a check mark and the star. Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and set these up here. And I'm actually just going to go ahead and end part 2 of this tutorial. So go ahead and move over to the next video, but make sure to subscribe and visit photoshopvid.com for all of my tutorials. And if you want to download this PSD, you could do so at photoshopvid.com.